If you spend any time raising or teaching kids today, you know the pressure points. The screaming fits over screen time limits, the sudden, explosive tantrums, the teenagers who seem perfectly fine 1 minute and fiercely defiant the next. When we see these outbursts, our instinct is to assume the child is being manipulative. We assume they're lazy, or they're just testing our authority to see what they can get away with. So we respond to what we see. We try to shut the behavior down. We yell back, we hand out punishments, or we confiscate their phones, expecting that fighting fire with fire will teach them a lesson. This diagram shows why that approach usually fails. We spend all our energy attacking the visible fruit on the branches, the surface behaviors. But children's behavior isn't random. It is driven by a massive, unseen root system underground. Today's youth are facing a complex new environment. They are processing thousands of algorithmic influences, constant social comparison, and intense digital stress that repeatedly attacks those vulnerable roots. That daily defiance is a neurological SOS from an overwhelmed brain. Think of the developing brain as a two-story house. The upstairs brain, the prefrontal cortex, houses logic and self-control. Scaffolding shows it is under construction until the mid-20s. Underneath is the downstairs brain, centered around the amygdala. Handling survival instincts, it's fully active now. When a child experiences a high-stress moment, maybe it's a harsh scolding, an unread text from a friend, or mounting academic pressure, their body floods with cortisol, the primary stress chemical. This diagram shows what happens next. The downstairs brain senses danger and slams a heavy iron gate shut on the staircase, completely blocking access to the logical upstairs brain. In this moment, the child has flipped their lid. They are biologically locked out of their own reasoning center. Let's apply this biology to daily life, starting with the child refusing to drop their phone. It's easy to look at a teenager scrolling for hours and label them lazy or unmotivated. This graphic shows the actual neurological trap. The child's developing brain is caught in a continuous dopamine loop. Faced with information overload and digital stress, their brain seeks an easy, fast escape to feel good, trapping them inside this track. Then there is the screaming, disrespectful tantrum. When a child throws a massive fit over something trivial, adults naturally assume it's a calculated tactic to force us to give them what they want. In reality, this is a pure downstairs tantrum. The thinking brain is entirely offline. The child is operating in a state of primal panic, overwhelmed by emotion, and literally unable to access their self-control. Finally, consider the defiant teenager who suddenly prefers their friends over their family. From the outside, it looks like pure rebellion. This chart shows what is actually happening chemically. When levels of oxytocin, the connection chemical, and serotonin, the confidence chemical, drop into the red zone, the adolescent brain panics. It triggers an intense biological drive to seek pure belonging and autonomy to replace those missing chemicals. Once we understand these internal mechanics, it becomes clear we are fighting chemical deficits and survival instincts, not villainous children. We can see how this internal drive forms habits through a 4-step chain. It starts with where a child spends their attention, like an endless short-form video feed. That constant stimulation triggers an emotion, usually a dopamine spike. Repeated enough, that feeling builds a story about who they are, an identity. Eventually, that identity crystallizes into the behavior we see on the surface. This chain explains why traditional discipline fails once a child has flipped their lid. Punishing the behavior doesn't address the attention or emotion that drove it. It just dumps more stress-inducing cortisol into a system that is already blocked. The biological solution is connection before correction. You have to soothe the amygdala first. Providing emotional safety and a calm physical presence acts like a release valve for that cortisol. It is the only way to reopen the gate to the logic center. This requires adults to make a difficult shift. We have to stop asking, "How do I stop this behavior?" and start asking, "What is this behavior trying to tell me?" Shifting from correction to connection ends the daily battles while building the emotional resilience and focus a child needs to navigate an increasingly complex world.